good? Good. You guys good?
Yep.
I love it. All right, mics are live. It's Career Seeker Show live on WPPM FM 106.5 Philadelphia.
We're back.
We are back indeed. Man, once again, hit us up. We're broadcasting live on the East Coast Executive Facebook fan page. Please hit us up. Share with us. I see you checking in. Debka Monti, thank you so very much. Terry Thomas, that's Uniontown right there. That's all day. Callie Clee, LA. We got check-ins from LA. That's what we do, right? Career Seekers. Anyway, speaking of what we do, I had just had some information about a law enforcement career fair that will be taking place at Girard College this weekend. And I'm actually trying to find the information again for you guys. But there is there's an event this weekend at Girard College for law enforcement officials. We'll share that information on the East Coast Executive Facebook fan page for anybody that's interested in going to that event at Girard College Saturday, May 6th, exactly 48 hours before Tiffany Southerland's birthday.
Hey.
I like it. I like it.
Hit us up on Twitter. Hit her up and say happy birthday at Tiff South.
Yeah, I'll take them starting today. Wait till the 8th, whenever the birthday month.
Just wish Alberta happy birthday as well. At Alberta Recruits on Twitter. And my birthday's December. You're August? Okay.
Yes.
My mommy's birthday is in August, and one of my sisters.
Excellent. Yeah.
So.
Well, wait. When's
I got a bunch of kids' birthday this week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't even care. You
Look at him.
forget when your birthday is.
He looks so sad about that. You better smile about that, man.
Hold on. So have you ever seen a show, and typically when they don't have a guest, they call it a best of show. So this is basically the best of the Career Seeker show.
Okay, now, right now,
But we're not
I'll take it.
rebroadcasting. This is live.
We
best of.
are live.
There we go.
That's the twist that we have. It's the best of the Career Seeker show live. Unbelievable. But AB, speaking of best of, I know
I see what you did there.
You like that?
I did.
This guy with his transitions,
Yeah,
he is
there's
good.
a reason why he's behind that board.
There he is, Mr. Producer Man over there.
No other seats in there. So the best of Alberta Bertolino, who continues to pull things out of her bag of tricks over there, has a list, and it's the best of and the worst of, I believe.
Yeah, it's a website called careercast.com. Lots of good information. Another good one, I know we refer to Glassdoor or Muse all the time, but I was taking a look at this one. I really liked it. And they, like Ken said, best jobs of 2017. They ranked them, and also the worst jobs. But interestingly, which I really like, especially given that we were just talking about people in tech, but 4 of the top 10 are built on math. And so what these jobs have in common is that they have the acquisition of data. So you're looking for data if you have a knack for numbers. So an operations research analyst, a straight-up mathematician, which I thought was interesting.
So these are the best jobs in 2017.
In 2017.
Help me out here. What makes a job
best,
the best,
according to
right?
them?
Yes.
Income, growth outlook, stress, and environmental factors.
Ooh, I would say that qualifies.
That qualifies.
Those are good best
Yeah.
things to
Yeah.
consider.
It's software developer on there, but does Tiff's want to, well...
Yeah, she's pivoting. We're gonna make sure that, but she's happy at her current job.
Right.
Keep that clear.
Let's keep it clear.
Yeah, silly.
So a statistician was the #1 job. So that's somebody, yeah. Then and the top key factor for that reason is expected for unemployment in that area to jump by 34% in the next 7 years.
So it's basically the baby boomers are leaving out of the industry.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
They need to be replaced.
I understand.
So operations research analysts, they're in every industry, manufacturing, finance, even government agencies, and they use data mining, statistical analysis, mathematical modeling, and boy, I'm getting sleepy just reading this because math is not my strong suit. But these are where you want to be. Mathematical theory, algorithms, can't even say that word, computers, and they are economics, science, engineering, and lots of other fields.
So what are the worst jobs? Like, okay, after executive recruiter or diversity recruiter, what are the worst jobs in 2017 after they eliminate what I do?
So one of the ones that Tiffany had expressed interest in doing was a disc jockey.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's very poor, 10% decline by 2024.
Very poor.
No
She can
pivoting
always
there.
fall back on her software engineering.
Oh, my software engineering experience. Y'all are
She
crazy.
can always. I'm sorry.
So as you might
Disc jockey.
imagine, anything in the newspaper industry has been falling behind. And very much in the print realm because things are not being printed as much anymore. Everything's online.
Which is actually sad. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
I like the feel of
Well,
of
and
paper.
just the art of writing as well. I just think that sometimes
Oh, I see.
I read some articles
Yeah.
now that people post really quick
Yes.
because they're trying to beat the
Yeah.
story, and they're just bad. Like I'm like,
They're not good writers.
they're not good writers.
Because
yeah.
the art of and journalists people who have been trained as journalists will talk about this a
Sure.
lot. That there is and there are still journalism programs in the country that people go to and graduate from.
Yeah.
But everyone can because everyone all it takes is a free like a website to write something out and publish it.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling themselves writers without ever having studied the craft and
Sure.
worked on the craft of writing.
Sure.
And it's yeah, it's a little sad sometimes.
It's very, well, yeah, and to Ken's point too, you do see a lot of times reporters too who try to beat out the other one. There are so many typos and
Oh yeah,
grammatical
and
errors.
some
I'm so
major
shocked.
companies
Right,
have
right.
been called out
Yes.
for having wrong information,
Yes.
and then like, oops, correction.
Yeah,
that
no.
person didn't die.
But they,
Like-
they don't always correct it. It's all the way on the. You have to read all the way to the bottom.
Right,
Right.
That person didn't die.
Like I've seen that, like no wrong person. Actually, someone else is dead. Like, come on, man, like
No,
get it together.
that's gonna happen to me because there's too many Kenneth Johnsons out here. They're gonna be like, oh no, not
Not
the career
Kenny,
seekers guy.
career Kenny.
They're like, no.
Ooh, career Kenny.
Career Kenny.
Did I just make that up?
You
I
did.
think
I
I
think
think
I
I should
heard it.
start a Career Kenny blog.
Ooh, you better get that. We're gonna get that Twitter handle right now.
I'm not big
Listen.
on the name though, but I think
But
I can run with it.
You can
Yeah.
run with
Career
it.
Kenneth.
Or just get it. Just get it anyway.
And just lock it in.
Alright.
And then sell it to one of the other Kennys that's running.
But speaking of sales, yeah, another thing, add sales reps.
Mm.
As you can imagine, same thing with the print.
Yeah.
Things aren't going there. 3% decline combined with high stress. An advertising salesperson is ranked 194 of the 200 careers in this report that they ranked. So one thing that's kind of sad, firefighters, because of this high stress and dangerous work conditions and without particularly high pay,
Yeah.
that's one of the worst jobs. Enlisted military personnel. They're
Gone down.
so important to us, but that's listed as a worst job because the pay isn't good, and
And
then
it's
when you
risky.
get out,
Yeah.
you're not always finding a job.
Right.
So, high stress, difficult conditions, low pay. Is pest control workers, which
Guess not everyone's trying to be a pest control
so
What is the?
and the fear of they're saying a fear of spiders is the third most prevalent phobia of Americans. What? So
What's the
Again,
first two?
it didn't. I should have looked that up.
Will agrees.
Makes complete sense. Those are the best and worst jobs of 2017, courtesy of Alberta Bertolino. If you want, I guess, a copy of that list, Alberta, where'd you find that? Where'd you find that list at?
I just Googled it.
Okay. Hit her up at Alberta Recruits, and she will get that information to you.
Absolutely, I will tweet out the link too as well.
I was having
We're
a co-
both linked. Yeah.
I was having a conversation with my class today about something that, and actually I reached out to her earlier in the week. I reached out to JT O'Donnell formerly of CareerLink, now of Work It Daily. She does this thing called the disruptive cover letter. And it's just such a great concept, Tiff, because what she does is she outlines a program, or I guess outlines a document on how you would structure what she considers a disruptive cover letter. And basically it's a little different from your standard cover letter because you're relating your background directly to the company. And one of the examples she gives is basically somebody that wanted to work at Nabisco, and then after their intro, they basically say, here's my Nabisco story. and they speak about coming home from school as a child,
Okay.
eating Oreos.
Oh, I like
Okay.
that.
So, you know, you guys sit on the other side of this, but do you read cover letters?
I absolutely do. I'd have probably a little bit more time to.
It would be a preference if they tell a story, I would imagine. If
Right.
that would keep your attention.
Yeah, and I think that a cover letter that is applicable to the company, because you can read, it only takes me 3 lines into a cover letter to tell if you've tailored this at all to my company.
Exactly.
And that is otherwise the rest of it it becomes irrelevant. But if you've taken the time, not necessarily irrelevant, but just not as helpful. But if you've taken the time to learn a little bit about the practice areas at our firm, some of the people you might want to work with, you know, some of the way that anything that you know about the company, if you've spoken to somebody, that is a great opportunity. And cover letters, people disregard them, but I think that they can be important.
I do agree with that, although I don't tend to read them. But given the volume of the open jobs that I'm working
See,
on,
you're a lot like me. I never read cover letters.
but
I rarely read cover. You know what? I never read cover letters.
yeah.
However, I think if I received it right, and the subject was more than attached cover letter of
Right.
Oh,
X,
sure,
Y, Z. Like if I received something that basically said, "Here's my East Coast executive story,"
Right.
that would catch
You
my
have to
attention.
You're like, wait a minute, let me
Like,
read
hold on,
that.
yeah, what's this all
And
about?
I think it all, and that goes back to knowing the kind of company you're applying to and what kind of jobs. Because a job, like every job is not, if you know a company it's a 500 plus person company, but they have 4 job postings,
Yeah.
there's probably a little bit more time
Yeah.
for the
Yes.
recruiter to read that versus
Yeah.
a company that has 100 postings.
Yeah, we have
And-
130 right now.
Right, like you can't, there's not necessarily the time for it. So can you find a way though to, instead of giving a whole page of a cover letter, give a paragraph that's something, a snapshot, which is why we talk about the professional summary as a way to give some of that story, but not necessarily in a 4-page letter. Shout out to Aaliyah, rest in peace.
You know what? She's a DJ. We did say that she's an undercover
I'm on
DJ.
it. Some people
I like
call me Hip Hop Tiff in certain
Hip-hop
circles
Tiff,
that I
okay.
run in.
Write that down.
You know what? Instead of the best and worst jobs in 2017, how about Tiffany Sutherland's jobs in 2017? She's named.
Well, you know
about
I
4
am
or 5
Jamaican,
things.
so-
I was
you
just
know.
gonna say that.
Good point,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
point.
right.
There you go. A lot of hats wearing.
So AB,
Yeah.
back to the cover letter piece.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys run your postings,
Yes.
do you put cover letter required or anything?
No,
Okay, so
no.
now I'm wondering if somebody includes cover letter required, does that mean they're specifically
gonna read it.
reading? They're going to read it,
Yeah, I
right?
don't
So
know
that may be
yeah,
the
that's
angle.
a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking to trick an applicant tracking system. I shouldn't give this away. If I suddenly start seeing this on my
I'm
my
like listening so
requisitions,
attentively
right?
right now. Yeah.
No, but I mean, if this happens, I'll know that people are listening to the show. So on our website, and you go in and you create your application, there are 2 uploads. You can upload a cover letter and you can upload the resume. It also gives you another piece to upload other things. And so typically when I open up your application, I will not even click on the link that says cover letter. I will only click on the link that says. So, but if you put the cover letter and the resume in one document and only upload it to the
Look at that. Life hack right there. Job hack.
That is
Yeah.
it's a job hack indeed.
So if anyone out there does that, you figure out where I work and you send me I will hire
So you gotta
them.
do a little homework there.
She's on LinkedIn, by the way. I'll put her name.
Yeah. And it's spelled exactly how it sounds, right? So basically what it sounds like is when you know that the people who are reading your resume, your application,
Yeah.
do not have a lot of time. How can you maximize your resume, right? Because if you know that there are things that you want to express about yourself that you can't quite put in a bullet point underneath your current job title, what are some of the things that you can do in order to make your resume stand out?
So we speak about this often, and I believe it's almost like going to Times Square. I think the average recruiter spends 6 to 8 seconds looking at your resume.
Yeah.
Proven fact, right?
Yep.
So you catch them at that top fold, right? So basically, you got to understand what the top fold is. It's just the top section of your resume. So you want to catch them on that top third of your resume, and I do believe if you have a positioning statement, maybe even before the summary that identifies you as experienced marketing director. Okay, at least I know that this person's applying, and you're applying to my marketing director job. I know that you're the right person.
Yeah.
Because we get so many resumes of people that aren't qualified for the position.
Absolutely.
So now I know you're a marketing director, so I'm more enticed to read the next line.
So that time you spent goes up from 6 to 8
So
seconds.
it
Right.
goes up a little, because I
Exactly.
want to read the next line, and you probably need to catch me with either some type of accomplishment-based statement. That would be great, even if it's in your summary and you're saying that immediately you hit me with marketing director responsible for an increase of 58%.
Exactly.
Hit me
yeah.
with something really quick.
That tells its own story.
tells its own
those
story.
numbers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that sounds like instead of, if anyone is listening and still puts an objective statement at the top of their resume, please stop doing that right away.
And stop naming the company in that objective
Oh, it's
statement.
the most, because we know you're applying to this company and to this job because
Right.
you've applied to this company and this job. So I think what Kenneth just talked about is essentially a professional summary. So you're giving me in that right underneath your heading with where your name might be or your address, or your email address, your phone number, you're giving me 2 to 4 sentences that summarize who you are and your story and bring together pieces of your experience that are not going to be fleshed out in your bullet points, but you put it all together for me at the very beginning, and now I'm just like, oh, this person sounds really interesting. Here are the soft skills that they have. Here's the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
Now I want to spend 35 to 45 seconds on the rest of their resume.
So, and to that point though, that type of resume, I might then go look at the cover letter.
Okay. Yeah, you
Not-
might circle back.
Not
possibly.
not both.
Not in
just
the
look at
first,
the-
right.
yeah,
So
not
that
the
just,
first
that
round.
tells you
Yeah,
that first
absolutely.
go round is really, really important.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
That's some good knowledge right there, people. Some very, very good knowledge.
So
you might want to rewind the video.
Yeah, watch this.
it's the best love. You're gonna hear it anyway.
I'm on a bit of a roll today. I'm trying to keep myself awake, people.
You know what? And we appreciate you so much that I wanted to share something with you that my class decided to share with me today, in lieu of you coming out tomorrow. I mean, okay, so you were supposed to come out next week, right?
Yeah.
So they decided that they wanted to sing to Tiffany's song.
Ah!
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yes.
I
So
hear it in the headphones. It's so sweet.
it's the actual.
Happy birthday.
I'm smiling.
It's
It is
my-
a happy birthday song. Thank you.
It's my Connect to Work class spring.